We are live. All right, we are live. Browns post-game show. Browns lose to the 49ers 26-8. Nick, it started off actually pretty fun. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it started off really good. I thought Shadur Sanders played a really nice first half of football. I thought the Browns, all things considered, with the weather, they knew it was going to be a weird weather game going in. I thought everything really made sense. Ultimately, I think this came down to the special teams mistakes, the special teams errors were
Oof.
too much to overcome because once the game got out of reach, you saw Shadur Sanders revert back to some of those bad habits. He was turning his back to the defensive line, stuff that you just cannot do at this level. He was trying to play hero ball. He's trying to dig the Browns out of the hole that they had created for themselves. The special teams are really bad. I know they don't subscribe to firing coaches mid-season. That's the era, but it's like there's no excuse for what happened today, and it's been a
Yeah.
theme all season long.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. I hate blaming the coaches all the time, especially for special teams, because Gage, you have to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Like
He did it
Bubba
twice, though.
Ventrone,
He did it twice. He fumbled the
I
first
know.
one and he fell on it, and then they put him out there, and then he did it again. And it's like, well, then at that point, I do blame the coach because, like, what
Right.
he fumbled once and then he did it again.
Yeah, and I mean that's not the only thing special teams has been atrocious overall this entire year. So yeah, I'm with you. I mean, you especially when you've got a team this young, you've got a rookie quarterback, you've got a rookie running back, you've got just a super young team. You can't let the average starting position for the 49ers to be probably at the end of the game. It was at the 41 was the average in the third quarter, is probably around the 50 by the end of the game. There's no chance, even with the best defense in the league, that you're going to win that game with a young offense who really, has to prove themselves and really has it.
Yeah, absolutely no way. Like when you're giving this was a winnable game for the Browns, but the 49ers are a talented team. So when you're giving a talented team that's well coached and they've got enough offensive weapons with Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle, like when you're giving them, literally gifting them that quality field position, like it is going to be uphill sledding. And then that was the story for the Browns in the entire second half. Like they were constantly behind the sticks. Shadur Sanders was constantly dropping back. He surprisingly only got sacked 3 times. It felt like a little bit more, but it was only 3 sacks. He finishes the game a pretty respectable 16-25. Obviously, the passing yards aren't where you want them to be. They're under 150. It was so windy downtown today. But ultimately a game that like the Browns really could have won. And the first half it was close, and you saw the recipe was to play really good defense and to kind of just dink and dunk down the field. But the special teams are just you cannot overcome that. That's just really bad. And the Browns were completely outcoached. So the good news is next week they've got the Tennessee Titans. That'll be a home game. I think that will serve similar to what the Las Vegas Raiders, very short-term field goal was, because that's a team that the Browns are in the same class as. Like it's quite simple now, right? Like the Browns, even though this was a winnable game because they have a really good defense, they are not anywhere near the stratosphere of the San Francisco 49ers, who are third place in their own division. Like they're much more on that Las Vegas Raiders, Tennessee Titans type playing field right now.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at this game, and let's talk about Shedeur real quick, because you mentioned his stats. I thought in the first half of this game, we looked like a legitimate NFL offense. Like Quinshawn was rushing it well. Jerome Ford had a first down. You had Dylan Sampson out there, doing a pretty decent job overall. You had Judy catching the ball. You had Fannin catching the ball. We looked good overall. But yeah, it's the special teams. That's you don't recover from that type of performance from Bubba Ventrone and his crew. But let's talk about Shedeur in the first half. What did you like? What didn't you like? I was surprised you said 3 sacks. It felt like he got clobbered all game, especially in the second half. Um, yeah, what are your kind of initial thoughts with Shedeur?
Yeah, I think he has proven now, like whatever they were worried about with him, like not understanding how to get in and out of the huddle and some of that crazy stuff that was floated in the preseason and why they said Dylan Gabriel was so much further along than him. Like he's proven that that's not an issue at all. Like just from a sheer eye test. Shadur Sanders looks the part of an NFL quarterback. So
Yeah,
that he has going for him. He can operate the offense efficiently. He can take what the defense gives him. The touchdown pass to Harold Fannin Jr. was brilliant. He was wide open. He stepped into that throw nicely. It was not a clean pocket, but he was able to step up, not drift back. And he's able to find his big tight end for a completion and a really nice touchdown throw. So I really think Shedeur showed promise throughout this entire game. But the second half, when they got down and they had to drop him back probably more than what they would have wanted to, and he started taking the hits and he started holding onto the ball for longer, it's when the game got out of hand. It feels like every time they have to get off script, every time that they have to be the team that adjusts, things don't go well. Like if they're the team that like gets to throw the first punch and they're the ones that score first and they're the ones that are able to play with the lead and they're able to stick to their script, that's the recipe for success for the Browns so far this season and their wins against namely the Dolphins and the Raiders. But in games that they have to be the team that adjusts, and the second that one thing goes wrong, it feels like it's a snowball effect and then the rest of the operation just fails with it.
and then it's just a complete disaster from there. You're right, because we were well in that game. I mean, you get some momentum, you get that 2 point conversion, you take the lead. Yeah, you're down a little bit, but you still, you're still functioning in your game plan. And then you're right, it just complete snowball effect. Special teams falls apart, and then I don't get it why the rest of it falls apart. The one thing I don't love with Shedeur, and this was an issue with him back in Colorado, is he holds the ball so long. And like, you mentioned the sack total, that's surprising because like the line was not the issue. I mean, he had all day to throw the football, and he's a rookie.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen. Hopefully he gets better, but it's a little alarming where, this has been kind of an issue the whole time he's played football.
Yeah, and I think you see like the first half of the game when things are on schedule for him, he has no problem getting the ball out quickly. He has no problem running the offense the way that it's supposed to be run. But it's just when you're in these, second and long, third and long, now the penalties start. Then he feels like for whatever reason that he has to be
You
Michael
think it's
Jordan
hero
out
ball?
there.
Yeah.
And it does turn into hero ball for him. And I can't put the blame on him for that because he does want to win. I think it's a good thing Kevin Stefanski at the podium just now committing to Shadur Sanders right away. He will be the starting quarterback against the Tennessee Titans. So we get to see the vaunted Cam Ward versus Shadur Sanders matchup that everybody's been waiting on. But
Dude, I'm excited for that.
I do think it's good that they're continuing to start him. Like that's very important. That's not to be lost in all of this because even though this is a lost season, like you're technically not mathematically eliminated because of how bad the AFC North is, but you're
Really?
eliminated. Yeah. Mathematically, the Browns are not eliminated
What are we,
from the
2-9?
playoffs. No, you got 3 wins.
Oh, that's right.
You
Yeah,
forgot
okay,
about that
that's
goofy
right.
Packer win at the start of the season where they probably should have benched Joe Flacco after that. But
Yep.
at this point, like you're officially dead. But the one thing that there is to watch for is to find out, do you have a quarterback on this roster? It feels like the answer to that question is fairly obvious. But you've got
Yeah.
5 games to find out.
Wait, what you say that's obvious? What's the obvious answer? Is that a no?
I just feel like you've got 3 wins right now.
Yep.
If you fall in love with one of these quarterbacks in the NFL draft, like with 5 games remaining, I just can't see And it's possible. Maybe he goes absolutely bananas. But like with 5 games remaining, I just can't see a path where you feel comfortable with Shadur Sanders being your starting quarterback for the entire 2026 season. Not to mention, I think a selling point of this Cleveland Browns job, should it come open, and I personally believe that it will, I think a big selling point is, well, you could year one, you got a blank slate with a new rookie quarterback that
What,
you
you're
get
saying
to
for a
pick
new coach?
for a new head coach.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be a desirable job. You got
No.
$80 million in dead cap that you owe Deshaun Watson next year. Whether you post June 1st release him or whether you keep him around, that 80 million you cannot spend. Jerry Jeudy is $41 million guaranteed, and that guy's checked out. I've never seen a guy quite checked out like that.
Brutal.
I mean, dude, like he is all the way done with this season. But I mean, he's going to be around next year, so I
Yeah.
do think like having 2 first-round picks and letting a new head coach hand pick a rookie quarterback could entice somebody to come here. I just like for the Stefanski truthers that are out there, and I've I've stuck with the guy for as long as I possibly could. It's just like this season is dead. Last season was dead. I'm trying to sell myself on a reason to tune into these last 5 games. There's not much of a reason there. Like, I
Well,
just
I
don't
think
know
I think
how he saves
it's Shadur
himself.
Sanders is the only reason that you're going to tune in. Like if he
Yeah.
can beat bad teams and he can be competitive with above average teams, then that's a guy you can build upon. You
And the
know?
coach doesn't even want him on the field. So like what's the point? Like I found that
How about
Adam
Dylan Gabriel coming into the game and
and
throwing
got
that?
booed. And got booed.
Oh, did he really?
They booed him jogging onto the field.
Yeah, they probably booed him jogging off the field because that throw sucked.
Who was that he got lit up?
I think it was Harold Fanning he threw to. It was way off the mark. He threw like as hard as he could right at him, and no.
No, just another hospital ball. And that's another piece coming out of this game. The Browns took some brutal injuries. Malik Collins, they're calling it a quad. We'll
Yeah,
see
he's in
how
trouble.
we'll see how serious that is. I mean, that's a serious contributor on that defensive line. Dylan
Nick,
Sampson left the game as well and
yeah,
did not return. Like that's been a fun young
Nick,
promising
what's
player.
what's up with David Njoku? Have they just moved on from him? I mean, I know he's playing, he's starting. They love Fannin. Um, why didn't they trade Njoku when they had an opportunity? Because they don't even really use the guy.
I think it's a double-edged sword, like maybe a triple-edged sword. Even I think a
Is that a
big
thing?
piece. If it's not, I'm making it one. I think a big piece of it is that he has to help in the pass protection, in the run blocking so much because the offensive line is just garbage. So you don't really see him out there making an impact like in the passing game. And I do think a big piece of that is because they really like Harold Fannin Jr. They drafted him. Kevin Stefanski loves the guy. And for good reason. He's shown really good promise. David Njoku's a free agent. To answer that part of your question, why didn't they
Right.
trade him? I think they probably looked at the situation and said, we could have another 5th-round pick in our gauntlet of 5th-round picks, or we could have a guy that wants to be around the organization. Maybe we could work something out with him long-term on an older veteran contract where he comes back and he could be a leader in the locker room. And that even that for the last 8 or 9 games of the season is more valuable than adding a 5th-round pick or Andrew Berry and his pick swaps. Like that's all they were going to get from David Njoku. So they probably just felt like that having his leadership and his persona was valuable enough to keep
Yeah.
around. Because you have to mention, like prior to maybe 2 weeks ago, Harold Fannin Jr. was still having trouble lining up. Like he still didn't really even know where to line up. So like there was a learning curve from playing in the Mid-American Conference to playing in the National Football League for him. I think he's gotten a lot of that sorted out though. And they're probably wondering why they didn't trade David, but I ultimately still think it was the right decision because maybe you do work something out where he comes back as like the tight end 2, not the tight end 1.
Yeah, we got a comment on YouTube. Activate Watson. I had a couple
Why?
people in the garage say, "Hey, why not throw Deshaun Watson out this season?" complete horrible idea. But
Yeah.
Nick, are you on the same page there?
Yeah. I mean, the owner, like, when Jimmy Haslam said what he said in the preseason, when he called it a swing and a miss, like that pretty much eliminated any
That
real chance of Deshaun Watson playing football for the Browns ever again. I mean, if they wanted to do like the meat shield thing, I guess they could. But like, what do you learn? Like, at least with 5 more
nothing.
games of Shedeur Sanders, you learn if that's a guy that's even worth keeping around the organization.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
or and you could make that same argument with Dylan Gabriel. Like, for the people that hate Shedeur, and there's plenty of them. Like, for the people that hate Shedeur, okay, then even then, before you activate Deshaun Watson, I'm going back to Dylan Gabriel. I'd look at Bailey Zappi, like, because I don't know for
Right.
sure what I've gotten those guys. Like,
Yeah.
I know with Deshaun that it's not what it was. And somebody will take a risk on Deshaun. Like, if they post June 1st release him, somebody will do it. Somebody will.
Maybe.
It's the NFL. These teams are desperate, but he's done.
All right, Nick, I'm gonna give you a few quick hitters here. I want you to say if you're comfortable with them starting next year at the position,
Oh,
or if it
God.
needs an upgrade. Shadur Sanders.
If there's a strategy that they could deploy where I would be comfortable if they got him Carnell Tate and a left tackle, if they did not want Fernando Mendoza, if they did not want Ty Simpson, if they couldn't trade for Mac Jones, I'd be good with that.
All right, so you're going TBD on Shadur?
TBD. And
right.
TBD if I get Carnell Tate and a left tackle.
All right, Quinshawn.
Yeah.
Easy. Dylan Sampson is the backup.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think the Browns don't need a running back in free agency. They don't need to draft one. I really think next year, Raheem Rocket Sanders, who's a game day inactive just for roster reasons, he should be the RB3 next year. Like, you are fine at running back.
All right, Harold Fanning, your starting tight end.
I'm good with it.
All right, Jerry Jeudy or WR1.
No. That needs to change. And like, what stinks about that too is I was on Jerry Jeudy's side for so long. Like, I love that move from Andrew Berry because
we talked about it last week. We're like, hey, let's just give him a few more weeks. I think maybe he gets a little chemistry with Shadur Sanders. Maybe turns into that wide receiver one.
Nope. Mark Schlereth was right. Steve Smith Sr. was right. They were right. Everybody that complained about Jerry Jeudy in Denver, like, it's disappointing just because, like, he has the contract, he has the role, so like the volume.
And he's young.
The volume is there. Like, you went to Bama, like, you should be really. At worst, he should be Jalen Waddle.
Yeah. We're going to keep going. We got another comment. I hated Cleveland play calls. Hey, welcome to the club.
Could I react to that? I mean, the special teams and the 2 4th down calls, that's what cost you the game. Like, we could talk about Shedeur holding on to the ball.
Nick, you talk about Harold Fannin still, like, learning where to line up. Why are you putting that guy in as a QB sneak on 4th and 1 when you have Quinshawn Judkins?
This regime will be remembered for the Deshaun Watson trade, their obsession with 5th round picks, and putting non-quarterbacks under center for QB sneaks.
What about jet sweeps from Njoku?
Remember how many times Harrison Bryant got blown up with the QB sneak to the tight end? It's just like, put a quarterback in the game to run that. I don't know. They make it so much harder than what it needs to be. The 4th down play calling, like, that cost you in the special teams. That's really what cost you.
All right, let's keep going. WR2, Gage Larvadane.
Evidently, right? Like, Cedric Tillman.
Goose egg.
Yeah,
one
does he
target
exist?
today. One target.
And Jamari Thrash hasn't played in a couple of weeks.
And then Isaiah Bond had that weird catch.
wasn't
a great throw.
No.
I mean, that's
the receiver room. Like, you know what's crazy about the receivers that doesn't get talked about enough? Chad O'Shea has been the receiver coach since Stefanski got here. Chad O'Shea has been a position that's rare for a position coach to remain in their spot for 6 years. I couldn't tell you the first receiver he's ever developed.
No, I mean, I feel like even if they're decent when they get here, they're worse. Not a great stat for another Browns coach.
Very weird.
Yeah. All right, let's look at the defense because I think we've got a Super Bowl defense. I mean, you got Carson Schlesinger, you've got Ronnie Hickman, who's young, Mason Graham, Shelby Harris, Tyson Campbell, Grant Delpit, Myles Garrett, Devin Bush, Denzel Ward. I mean, Michael Hall was in the game. You've got like, there's not a ton of upgrades you need on defense. Like, is there one that you can think of if you're looking at our defense in total?
Yeah.
Like Isaiah McGuire, he got a little banged up today. He's not bad, but like, is there anyone that you really a positional need that you're like, we gotta fix this?
No, not really. Like
No.
I think like if you could get a free safety, but like at the same time, if that's the position where you're a little weak, like if you're
Right.
not in love with Ronnie Hickman and Rayshawn Jenkins, who are fine, like then you're in a pretty good spot. Like this offseason, it should be so clear. Like just fix this offense, and you could be competing for meaningful things. Like the NFL, I sound like a broken record on these post game shows because the NFL is a league
Yeah.
where you're not supposed to be bad for this long. And like you look around the league right
Bad.
now, the Chicago Bears, the number one seed in the NFC, not the NFC North, the NFC. They
Yeah.
were the laughing stock of the league 2 years ago. They fixed their offense. They found a good young head coach, and buckle up, they're underway. Speaking of, we've got just weirdness going on. Some quotes coming out of the locker room. Wyatt Teller said he knew early in the week that he would be rotating each series with Tevin Jenkins. He said he wouldn't discuss injuries or much detail, but said the reason Stefanski made the move is along the lines of I wasn't playing well enough. So you've got like a veteran right guard in Wyatt Teller getting like on again, off again, benched. Like the NFL is when there's a coaching advantage in the NFL, you know, and today you knew. Like I wish Kyle Shanahan would have never put that PowerPoint presentation together. I wish he would have been on our sideline.
Yeah.
Because he is just 10 times the coach that Stefanski is. Like it is that obvious in the National Football League when a team has that big of an advantage. That is a weird quote coming out from a veteran guard. Again, like if you're done with Wyatt Teller, he's a free agent at the end of the season. Why wouldn't you trade him? And he's a guy that I thought they could work out a long-term extension with, just because the entire rest of the offensive line is free agents. Pocic is probably going to get paid too much. You're not going to be able to afford him. He's a bit younger. Teller's a little bit older. So why wouldn't you?
Who knows, man? Let's go back to special teams real quick. Ian Coleman on YouTube. Why catch the ball on the 4, especially when it's about to go out of bounds?
It was a nice toe tap. That was probably the best toe tap we've seen from a wide receiver all year.
He did get 2 feet in. He
did. He did. That was a highlight reel catch for him.
That's pathetic. Yeah, I think Bubba Ventrone, you're not going to fire him mid-season probably, but you got to move on from that dude, right?
I don't know how. Like, I hate being like, you know, pound of. I'm usually not pound of flesh guy. Like immediately following these games, I just don't see how you could run it back with this entire operation next year. Like you just need a clean slate going into 2026. You know, you get occasional moments in the season that give you hope, and that's really all we have. Like the Raiders win was hope. Shame on us. You know, shame on us for thinking that this Niners game was winnable. Yeah, like you're asking me, should Bubba Ventrone be fired? For sure. Like that probably should have happened 5 or 6 weeks ago. And like the fact that it didn't happen solidifies the point that the head coach should probably go with them. You know, and it's disappointing because they've been around for 6 years, and we were so sick of, you know, Haslam just hiring and firing and hiring and firing, and it was just a repeating cycle that got us nowhere. But it just seems like time is up here in Cleveland. Like that. The Wyatt Teller thing is rubbing me the wrong way, if you can't tell.
That's weird. That is super weird.
If you're going to bench him, just bench him.
Yeah, Jason says, preach, Nick. Depot's gone. Now just get rid of all of them. Dude, I hate that. Like, I would defend Stefanski if we wouldn't throw for 3 or 4 yards on like 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 12. Like, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. It's like that's what he's drawing up. And that's been one of the constants for like the last 5 years is like, dude, just throw the ball down the field. I know we haven't had a quarterback, but like you gotta do better play calls.
It's literally that simple. Like
Yeah.
and it's just like the 49ers, here's another West Coast team that comes into Cleveland. We're supposed to have the advantage here. You know, we've been toting this Wildcat offense and how creative that's been over the last couple of games. What happened to that on 4th down? No, instead we're trying to do tight end sneaks, running back sneaks. Like, we're snapping the ball to anything that's not a quarterback. Like, because they consistently outsmart themselves. It's disappointing, but
It is.
that's where
All
we
right.
sit.
Well, let's wrap with this. Will Myles Garrett get the sack season record this year? He's at 19, 22 and a half.
I think so. I do think that he will. He said today that there seemed like a lot of opportunities. Brock Purdy was just getting the ball out really fast.
Yeah.
And this is going to be like Myles' last tough test. Like Trent Williams, and I know the broadcast did a really nice job highlighting it. Like, he could have retired 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and he would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Canton is calling whenever he's done. So I definitely think it gets easier for Myles from here. I think he only needs 4 more now for that record. He needs 4 more in 5 games.
Yeah.
And I think he gets that.
Yep. All right, Nick, any final parting thoughts? More of the same.
How about this? I wouldn't be surprised if he got that next week. The Titans stink.
You think he's going to get 4 sacks? Yeah, he's done better.
He's done it before. Yeah, he's done that before, and they're that bad. I don't know. I think another parting thought that I have, especially just because today went as bad as it did, and because the college football landscape right now just seems to be on crack, I would say keep your eye on Tommy Rees this week. He is the favorite to land the UCLA head coaching job. So if they wanted to work quickly on that, they could. Obviously, there's not too much of a rush just because he's in the National Football League. He's not even in the NCAA. But if they wanted to move fast and help him get a staff set and start getting NIL in motion and start looking at recruits and transfers and all this stuff, like, we could be living in a reality where it's Kevin Stefanski as the offensive play caller on Sunday against the Titans. So things are always weird in Browns land.
Yep. All right. The season of evaluation continues next week. Back home versus the Titans. That should be a fun game. It's the poor man's NFL teams going at it. Yeah. We'll see what we've got. All right. We're going to get out of here. Another depressing Browns post-game show. Don't know what we have quite yet in Deshaun Watson and Shadur Sanders. But I think we'll find out over the next couple of weeks here. Nick, go Browns, hopefully.